and welcome to Hixxy Studio. In this video we are going to be looking at how to make this Christmas tag. There are loads and loads of little techniques packed into this one, so we shall get going. Now the first thing we need is a tag. Now there are a lot of tag dies on the market. However, if you don't own tag dies, you are still able to make your own tags. Now I have, and these are something that we can make sure that the measurements get put somewhere. I have a set of templates that I have already cut out that I can draw around. You can see I've cut around this quite a few times. For this tag, I'm using this one here. And you can see the measurements here. Again, we'll put those in the information on the video just to save a little bit of time. And I'm using greyboard. Now, greyboard is comes in all thicknesses, and if I hopefully the overhead camera can get this, I've got 4 different pieces here, all different thicknesses, and it just depends on what you want really. This one's slightly thinner, and I've kind of gone for not the thinnest, but a little bit thicker. Now, that said, a lot of packaging these days comes with these big cardboard pieces, so it's worth holding on to those because they make really good pieces of card for this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to place it up to the corner, because then it saves me cutting 2 edges, and with a pencil I am going to draw around my tag, across and down, and then I am going to cut this up. Put my template to one side, and so you need a craft knife, and you need a ruler with a metal edge, and I know this seems quite obvious, I have moved my craft mat out of the way because I have ruined many a craft mat over the years by forgetting to remove it, and as soon as you do that on it, it's gone. Whereas this is a nice self-healing mat. So I am literally going to, now when it's a thicker card, don't just try and force your way through it. Do it in a few strokes. And if you've got a nice sharp blade, it will only take a few to get through. And then I tend to do the across bit here, like that. And then here. And here. So now I've got my tag shape. So if you create a set of templates, then you've always got a quick and easy way, even if you don't have a die set, although I know that there are some lovely sets on the website. Okay, so here's my die, and I'm going to bring my craft mat back in now because we're going to start doing lots and lots of messy bits and pieces. Now the first thing we're going to do is to gesso this, and gesso is, I've decanted it into my little pot just because I don't like to waste too much. And bear with me, I need to grab my water as well. Here we go. You don't have to gesso things. I tend to, because I like it, the sort of matte finish it gives underneath, and also if I was perhaps putting something dark on here, I wouldn't worry too much, because I want to put some quite pale colours on this. I do kind of want to lift this before I even start. So I'm just painting it on. I'm not even worrying too much about getting any water on my brush. I'm literally just going to paint it over, and it's just to give me that little lighter background. Okay. Now I would want to do that both sides, but obviously that bit's got to dry, so we're just going to put that to one side, and we're going to grab a piece of tissue. This is going to be a messy one today, and we're just going to grab that. I'm not too worried if it all comes off as long as it's dried, and then I can clean my mat later. Okay, so here's one that I have just sewed both sides. Now what I want to do is to introduce the colour. So in order to reduce mess on my board, I'm going to use these little pots. You can get them on any of the shopping places, and I tend to have them in the in the hundreds. And what that does, it just means that I don't need to keep cleaning my mat. But also, it means that if I mix a colour that I like, I've still got it. And if I've mixed too much, I've still got it. So I want to make pink, and I want to make, oh, do you know what I have not shown you? Have I? And that was very remiss of me, and I'm going to sort that out now. I've not shown you what we're going to use. Oh, okay, this is where we go. This is what we're going to use. This lovely rice paper from Stamperia is what we've used for the tree and the with love. Now, I'll show you later how to get these little bits out. But what I'm looking for is to replicate the kind of the pinks and this kind of turquoisey blue colour on the tag background. You can see it's pink here down to the sort of turquoisey blue there. So my apologies. I haven't really explained what we were doing and where we were going with it. So, okay. So I now have a little bit of gesso in each pot, and I'm going to get two more brushes. Excuse the mess of my brushes. They are very well used and very well loved. And I am going to use some Royal and Langnickel acrylics. The cadmium red, which will help me make the pink, and the dark ultramarine and the cadmium yellow, which are going to help me make the blue. Just using the deep ultramarine on its own, the blue is too blue. It needs to be brought down to a slightly more greener tone, which is where we put the yellow in. So we are literally going to put, I'm going to get the lids for this so that again we're not wasting. I'm going to put a little bit of red on the lid there, and I'm going to put a bit of blue on this lid and a little bit of yellow. There we go. Okay. So we don't need much. These colours are really, really strong pigments. So we only want a little bit. So you're just going to add a little bit at a time. This is going to be our pink. So I'm just going to literally get a small piece on, and then I am going to, and you can see already, I've probably even got too much red in there. But we might go with that. We'll go with that, I think. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. That's our pink. Brush there. Oh, no. I am trying to be tidy. I don't do a very good job of it, but I try. So we'll leave that one. So that's my gesso brush. So I'm going to take some of the blue. I'm probably again already taken too much. There you go. Now you can see that this blue that I'm making here, it's a lovely blue, but it isn't this greeny blue, this turquoisey colour. So I'm then going to take just a little bit of the yellow and bring it in, and take a little bit more and bring it in, and you can see now we're starting to get something that more resembles the blue that is on our piece of rice paper. So I haven't mixed too much because I don't really need too much. I'm going to use this one to show you how I did this. So I literally just took some of the pink and I put some more red in there, so that's not going to work great, but never mind. Put the pink literally at the top like this and sort of part the way down one side, and then put the blue and came up sort of to meet it. So they kind of blend in the middle. Okay, and I'll get the blue brush, the pink brush again, just bring that pink back down. Okay, and again, I would do that on both sides of the tag. So I'm going to put that one to the side. I'm going to put my two brushes into the water for the moment, along with my gesso brush. I'm just going to put that there so that I don't knock it. We can put this lid on the pink here, put this lid on the blue there, and we can put those to one side as well. Use a paper towel and just remove the acrylic paint. Okay, so So blue Peter Passion, I have one that I have already painted on both sides. Now, I quite like the backs of my tags to have some sort of interest. So what I did on this one is I used just some stamps just to give it a little bit of colour. And the stamps I used, and they might seem weird, I actually used, because I had this set handy. You might think, how on earth have you used that? I used this little bit here, and I also used the holly, but I decided on this one, we're going to use this little piece here, and we're going to use the Let It Snow just to put some interest on the back there. So helps if I get the stamps out. Now I've already put them onto some acrylic blocks, and I do apologise for the state of my acrylic blocks. They are a little bit messy. And I have then going to use 3 different distress oxides: sponge sugar to go with the pink, salvage patina to go with this turquoisey colour, and also the vintage photo, because I want it to feel a little bit more vintagey. It's very sort of nice and pastely here, and just to bring that little bit of vintage tone in. So when you are stamping on a background, it's always better to start with the the lighter colour first. Okay, so I am putting my stamp right to the edge, because I'm not like doing an image, I'm just doing sort of random, and I kind of don't really want this bit if I can help it. I'm just going to literally put this on the corner, and I'm just going to randomly, and you can do, you know, first generation there, you can second, you might get third out of it. Because these inks are opaque, you get a really lovely coverage. Okay, so I've done a little bit of the pink, and stamp until your ink's gone before you stick it on your next colour. So that's our sponge sugar. I've then got salvage patina. Oh, no, I'm not. I'll go on with this with salvage patina. And you can see that this gives us a nice bright, again, use several generations, turn it round. It's just to give a little bit of interest to the back of our tag. And we will do a little bit more stamping on the front as well. Okay, I'm just going to stamp that off on a piece of card I have there. And we'll do a little bit now with the vintage photo. Now with the vintage, sorry, that was rubbish. I do apologise, because as I was doing it, I was thinking, oh, I should have stamped, picking some of the ink off. So what I'm doing here now is just stamping the first one on there, so it's not so dark. They're only just getting a little bit more of a ghost of it. So put it on your ink pad, stamp it off to get rid of the most of the ink, and then you can go round and you get a much more muted kind of tone. Okay, I don't want too much of that. Now, the other one is the Let It Snow. And again, I put it on the end of this long block so that I can, she says, having now put it upside down. Let's put it that way, it might work better. So when I can stamp like this. So we're not going to do too many of these, because you don't want too much. And don't be afraid to go off the side of the tag. And let's clean that off. And then we'll get a bit of salvage patina. We didn't get the let it there, but that's okay. This is not meant to be precise and clear and clean. It's just to give us a little bit of interest on the back of our tag. And then we will do a little bit with our vintage photo. And again, really important to stamp the first one off, because that's quite dark. And then you get a lovely, more muted tone. There we go. So that's the back of our tag. And that might seem like, you really need to, well, I prefer my things to look, you know, nice front and back. So there is the back of our tag stamped. Okay, so let's put our inks to one side. Let's make sure we put the right lids on the right inks. That could be disastrous later. But we will now move on to the rice paper that we're going to put on the front here. So rice paper is lovely, and I love rice paper. It's so versatile. It will go on so many different things. Excuse me, I'm just getting some clean water. I'll explain why in a moment. It's really, really, yeah. The issue that people often have is that they're all little bits in and amongst. Now, I like, when I take pieces out of rice paper, I like to have the kind of fuzzy sort of frayed edge. You can cut into it with scissors. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's just not how I prefer to do it. So this is how I prefer to do it. So I'm getting a wet brush, okay, and it needs to be reasonably wet. And what I'm doing is I'm going to go round the bit I want with the water. Now you'll find that by the time you get all the way round, some of it would have dried, but that's okay. It would have started the process of allowing you to rip through the fibres, because that's what rice paper is made up of lots of fibres. And you can see like here, you can see what we call the slubs that go through. Sometimes those are tricky to get through, and you have to cut those, but we'll see how we go. And although the designs may be the same, the pieces of rice paper in themselves may not be. So let's go back over here, and hopefully you can see now, as I pull it, it just rips along that line that I have made with the water. It will just tear, and we get this lovely frayed edge. And if you are putting pieces onto something, you're better off having this frayed edge, because you can then get this to fade into the background. If you're covering a whole canvas, it doesn't make so much difference, but you can see that. See, now I've got quite a big slub going through here, and I am going to need a little pair of scissors just to cut through that one, just there. Otherwise, I run the risk of ripping into the other image. Okay, and I'm going to need a bit more water coming around here. This bit's dried. There we go, and comes around here. And again, you can see that we come through where I made it wet, and it ripped nicely. Okay, so we now have our Christmas tree, and then we want our with love. So we're just going to do the same with our with love. I'm going to just go round with water, and then we should be able to just tear that out. And what that means, hopefully I'm about to take poor old Rudolph's antlers with me, but you see what's happened here. The reason that Rudolph's antlers come with me is because I've got a massive big slub in there. So I really should have cut that before I tried to take that out. So just be aware of that and where the big slubs are. So I'm just going to pull this end off too, so that it's all nice and right. So we're going to move that over to one side, and then we are going to put our Christmas tree and our with love on here. Now, do not worry if it slightly goes over. The lovely thing about rice paper, well, you can either pull that off, or you can just put it round. So we're going to use decoupage glue to do that. And I have this brush. This is a brush I have had years. It's my glue brush. It's the one I always use for glue. It's getting a bit tatty, but I know that I don't really want to ruin some of my other brushes with glue. So with rice paper, I tend to put some on the back before I put it on to the piece. Now, better to probably this bit on the bottom first, so you can position it. Okay, and when you are gluing, you will then need to go over the top with a bit of glue. Always start from the middle and brush out. It makes sure everything is stuck, but it also means those fibres are also stuck. Now that looks to me like I picked up a bit of ink from somewhere, but that's okay because that will go with our vintage feel. And then I put my Christmas tree on. And again, a little bit of glue, start from the middle, work out. Now, what I'm going to do next now is I'm going to give this a very quick blast with the heat gun, because I want to keep going with this one, and I want to then do some stamping on top of this. It helps to bring the image into the whole tag. So I'm just going to round. Now, again, with my glue brush, I always put it in water, and that's why it looks so rubbish, but I always leave it stood in water, just so that it doesn't harden off. Okay, so we're going to get our stamps back and our distress inks back and just do similar, but I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to use the Let It Snow one. I'm just stamping off the rest of that vintage photo that was left on my this little one. So again, start with the lightest shade. So I've got some spun sugar. Don't be afraid to go over the image, because it helps to bring the image in as part of the whole piece. Okay, so just a few of those, and then we will do some in Salvage Patina. Again, let's take the dark off this time, because we don't want it intruding too much. We want the image to be the most important bit here. Now, oh, didn't blast it, did I? And I can tell now, because I'm struggling a little bit to stamp over, because I've got the decoupage glue. But we will just soldier on, I think, and then a little bit with the vintage photo again. Just take it back so that you're not overpowering the image. You're getting a few little bits on there. Okay, right, so I'm not going to use the Let It Snow one on this front part. Taking that decision, but that's okay. So now, so far, we have our rice paper on. We have our bit of stamping. We're now going to add this bit of detail here. Now, I'm using this stencil from Stamperia. It's an alphabet stencil, sorry, but the bit I'm interested in is the lovely borders. And we are going to use Icy Snow Paste from Imagination Crafts. And again, I am going to do it into a pot, so that I'm not making too much mess on my mat, but also so this is going to be able to be kept. Now, the snow paste is a little more textured than some other pastes, but it really doesn't matter. This is a winter Christmas tag, excuse me, something in there, and I don't want that in my pot. So I don't need loads. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit. You can hear the grit in it, can't you? Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit in. Now, it's white, which is great, but you can colour white pastes. Let me just make sure I've got this lid back on properly. There are two ways. You can use acrylic paints, and that's absolutely fine. You just have to remember that you are putting another liquid in, and they become a little bit looser. Or we're going to put in, and bear with me because I realise I've not got it out. I know where it is though. We're going to use, in this case, the Pixie Sparkles Red Oxide. I found this gave me a perfect pink to work with this particular colour. So all I did was to literally, I just puffed in a little bit. Don't need much. And although, to be fair, I'm not sure I'd want to use lots of my pixie sparkles in this, because you do use the sparkle, lose the sparkle, sorry. What it does do is you're putting something dry into this paste, so you're not making it wetter and runnier, which is pretty good. Okay, so I'm just mixing it in. And I've got my nice... Now, the one thing I will say about this is I have some that left from what I was doing when I did the sample. And it's funny because I don't know if you've seen me using the red oxide pixie sparkles, you know that there are lots of different pigments in there, and one of which is a really sort of dark bluey purple. And you know, I look at this now and I think, oh, I've mixed it all in really well. But as I've left what was left, I've noticed that those little purpley bits have started to pop through, which is quite interesting in the pot. So we are going to just add some interest round this bottom edge. We don't want to obscure this, so we just need to place it carefully. You can see where you're going. I don't tend to stick stencils down, but you know, you can if you want to. It's entirely your personal preference. And I'm also going to turn it round because I'm going to come down and across, and it just makes it easier for me because I'm right-handed. Just finding the best way for you. So it's a bit, to me, you know, there are people that say there's a particular technique, but I'm afraid it's just, for me, it's a bit more like icing a cake. Go through, and you can hear, because this is and I've moved it. I might know. Because it's a snow paste, you can hear that grit in it. And I think I've just got to that one too. If you can, do try to scrape off as much as you can from the stencil. And remember that you are going to need... Now you can see I've gone onto my board, so I'm going to pull my tag that way. Okay. I'm going to just run my fingers along there to get rid of the excess, and I'm going to, because I don't want to waste any, scrape that, ready to go back in. Okay. And then we are just going to do a little bit at the top. Now, the thing with then going up to the top, this is still wet. So you can, if you have the time, you can wait, you can get this to dry, or I tend to be really impatient and I just tend to kind of, let's get some of this on the back of your thing, put it on, and it depends how neat and tidy you want to be. I'm quite a messy crafter, so you can see that's done. You can get away without cleaning these too much, but you do need to make sure you clean them to some extent so that they don't all get clogged. So I am just going to, because I need to wipe my hands, I am just going to very quickly wipe that off, just because I don't want it to set while I'm working down there. And just, so you can see I've still got, I mixed up hardly any, and I still have quite a bit left. So I'm just going to put the lid on that, and that will work for another day. And I will put this into a pot of water so that it stays clean too. So here we have them. We have our tree, we have our sentiment, we have our background, we have our texture paste. So I made this little poinsettia to go on it, and that's really quite simple. We are using the Elizabeth Craft Designs small poinsettia, and it's really easy to make this match your colour scheme, because we have already, excuse me, I'm just going to move this gesso before I get that everywhere. It's really easy to link this in by using the same oxides. So I've used the vintage photo for the back. I've used the sponge sugar for the main part, and I have used salvage patina for the rest. So I don't need to do a lot. I just need to make sure I've covered enough for the dye, and let's get that out. So I just need a little bit there. Okay. Ooh, seem to want to go on very well today. So have I got enough? Yeah, I've got enough of the vintage photo there for the back. Then I need a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of the salvage patina for the little dotty bits in the middle. So let's just do a little bit there. And that'll go there. And then you do need, or I say you don't need, but I have already pre-cut some of these because I want more than one lot. So you do need to do a little bit more with the sponge sugar, but we already have some cut, hopefully somewhere. Yeah, I can see them. So just a little bit to be able to allow us to be able to cut. Now I am just going to put my tissue over this rather than heat drying it, just for speed, and hopefully we won't get it all over the mat. There we go. There we go. There. Put my little leaves on there. Get some low-tack tape. There. And oh, inky fingers. You can see I'm already getting blue in there. And oh, rescue my Gemini plate from under a mountain of ending up working in that tiny little space that we all do. So, oh, that's not stayed down. I am missing my plastic shim. Bear with me a moment. As I said, everything is buried over here. So, plastic shim, magnetic top plate. Oh, Gemini on. Right. Quick rescue of the water before that goes flying. I'm sure it's not going to hit the jigsaw that I've also put there. I like to make things difficult for myself. There we go, got that. Phew. Phew. Put them there. Right, so, oh, you see those bits have already cut. Two of our little poinsettia leaves. Oh, look what happened. Think, why are they white? Unfortunately, it slipped. But I'm not gonna let that stop me. I'm just gonna plow on because I do already have a few cut and we can make do with what we've got. Okay, so let's just push that one out. And then never mind, that's less haste, more speed. That's also, I think, partly because probably the ink was still wet, and so the tape didn't really want to sit on top of the ink very well. There's that bit, there's one there, and I am, just bear with me, I'm just going to wipe my hands because I feel like I'm putting ink on things when I don't need to be putting ink on things. Right, so here we go. Here are a few more ink leaves. Thank goodness for preparation. Right, so this is our base. I am just going to slightly bend this, and I'm not going to worry too much about those. We'll pop those out as we go in a moment so I don't lose them. But before I do that, I'm going to take my vintage photo again, and I'm going to take a little sort of sponge applicator because I'm just going to go round the edge. Now, just remember, at the moment, I still have wet texture paste, so I'm being a little bit cautious. But at home, you'll have time to let that dry before you start adding the that ink. Okay, so that's that bit done. And now again, the one more thing I want to do before I actually put this on, and that's to punch my hole. Now I have a really big old crocodile. You might have a more up-to-date version. You might have a different punch. I'm just going to try and miss that bit of texture paste, and I punch my hole already. And I'm also going to thread my ribbon through again before I start sticking that, because once that's in and it's kind of wet glue, it's going to be tricky to get this through the hole. So fold my ribbon in half, and then I always fold it in half that way to get it through the hole. This is going to be interesting because I have got wet texture paste here. The icy snow paste is wet. So I'm probably going to smoosh it at some point, but we'll go with it. There we go. It's through. Okay, I'll pull it through so you've got a loop. Take the ends, pass them through the loop, and then pull. And then you've got your tag in. Right, and now I can get my 3D glue gel, and we can assemble our little poinsettia in the corner. So we're going to put our base, okay, and then I'm going to put another blob on top, because these ones just stick into the glue gel, and the glue gel will be disguised with the little blue dotty bits. I don't know, they probably have a proper name, but we'll go with the dotty bits for now. And just put these in. Okay. And if all of them are cut, that would look a little bit better, but we'll go with that for now. And I'm going to put a tiny bit more glue gel there, and then I am literally going to turn this over, and I'm going to just pop these out onto my mat so they're all up the right way. And then I'm going to take my little wax pencil, and I am literally going to put them on. I might put a little bit too much glue gel there, but I think we will cope with it. Push it down a little bit, and we will just fill in around this glue gel. Oh, I picked up two there. Yeah, not to worry. And one on the top there, and that picked up two again. That's because I dipped in the glue gel as well. I think I'm now getting a combination of glue and wax. We've got to turn this one over. One there, two more. One, oh, come on. One there, and one more. Will it go over? Yes. We'll put that one there. And there we have it. Our tag. Oh, no, I have not finished. I've just realised one thing. Can you see how this pops out? When you've got rice paper, sometimes they fade into the background. So all I've got is a white gel pen, and I'm just going to get the white gel pen moving. Just going to go over the top there of the writing with my white gel pen. It's not as neat as the other one because I am rushing a tad. I never know where these letters come with the bits. Where do they start? Where do they end? Go with that, and we'll go back up. We'll do that bit there. Again, like I say, not as neat as the first one, but you get the idea. And then I also, the other issue that I've got, I think, is because this is still a bit wet because we haven't dried anything. I did go over some of these little bauble strings just to give them a little bit of a highlight too. There. One there. I'm going to keep seeing them now. Right, and now there you have it. all different, lots of different techniques. You've got rice papers, some texture paste, we've got flowers. So yeah, lovely, lovely little Christmas tag, and really quite simple to make. And with the rest of the rice paper, and there's loads of it left, plenty more scope for more. Thank you.